particular part of the firmware, has said that it might take up to a few minutes, but they don't transmit it all in one session. So as robots drive past each other, they'll transmit small blocks of firmware until a whole picture has built up, which is bootable, and then they'll sort of do a pivot root style switchover and boot the new firmware. So it's quite robust to not collecting all the data fast enough. Yes? Yeah. We get a microphone maybe?
How long does it take?
I have a question. How do they find...
Sorry, I was just taking a question from the guy without a microphone. Okay, yes, carry on.
How long does it take for the new firmware update to propagate throughout the whole swarm?
The question was, how long does it take for a new firmware upgrade to completely propagate through the swarm? The answer yet is that it's untested. But, thank you. I would estimate, well, it's one of those exponential things, isn't it? Because if you just introduce one new robot with the firmware, he has to give it to one other, and then you've got two transmitting to four, and so on. So each of those times maybe a few minutes, and so do the exponential over the population until that tends to something. But I don't know what that answer is precisely. I should just switch right to the end. Yeah, we are at the end. So in answer to the kit, the full design materials are available here, including a bill of materials and the PCB layouts, the schematics, the firmware, everything you need except the PCB. But maybe if demand is high, we might consider making a kit. I don't know. It's pretty experimental, but I'd like to try it. So yeah, software at xscope.com/Formica and hardware at warrantyvoidifremoved.com/Formica.
Okay. How do they find the charging station?
In this scenario, they're avoiding the lamp. So the lamp is at this end here. They drive towards the lamp to deliver food, and then away from it to find the charger. That's all they're capable of at the moment, navigation-wise.
Have you talked about maybe sending an infrared signal to find the loading or charging station?
We haven't tried that. It certainly may be possible, but you need to know your range away from the charger.
Yeah, maybe
I guess you can look at the power dropping off, maybe, yeah.
Maybe the robots can propagate who can see the charging station.
Sorry, say that one more time.
Maybe the robots can communicate where the charging station is. Yeah.
I'm sorry, yes. Maybe the robots could communicate where the charger is. Yes, they could also do that. So maybe you have a counter which resets when they're at the charger, and then they transfer that information on to other robots, and that would decay with time, so that the robots who interact with near the charger know that the charger is nearby. That would probably work, and just from the audience questions, I can see that there's a lot of behaviours that we could try out. And in the 10 weeks of the project, we tried only a tiny, tiny subset. So it would be great to take it further. Yes, at the front here.
Do you already know what the lifetime of the motor is?
Until they stop functioning?
Yes.
What other kind of lifetime is there? Who knows? I suppose mostly that would be limited by the battery. Lithium-ion batteries, as anyone who's owned a recent laptop will know, tend to stop working after a couple of years. So there's that factor. The motor, the wheels wear down somewhat as well. The loss becomes really apparent in these small wheels. So we haven't yet changed the wheels, but there are some robots with them running very low after maybe a day of drive time or something. So yeah, that's an issue. Mechanically, though, they're very, very robust, and we haven't had any motors burning out or anything. So those are the two big factors, I would say. Okay, are we out of time, or any more out of questions, perhaps?
We still have time.
Okay. Can anyone think of anything? Have I missed anything, team?
What about collaborative behavior?
Sorry?
What about collaborative behavior?
Calibrate.
Collaborative behavior?
Collaborative behavior. Yes, that's the absolute drive of all of this. This is a basic collaborative task here where they have a hive perception, and we've demonstrated that that works. We've also published, we have an abstract published about a demonstration we gave at the Artificial Life Conference in Winchester a few months ago that demonstrated a task distribution algorithm through the community. So where this was kind of inspired by ants. So ants may be foraging, tidying the nest, or raising young, and the number of ants in the community that are devoted to each of these tasks is adaptive. And we showed an algorithm working on the robots that emulated that sort of behavior in a completely decentralized way. And the interesting thing about this algorithm was that the tasks were a one-time only thing, and the ants would forget a task if another ant hadn't told them about it. And so the challenge was to maintain all of these tasks swimming around in the population without them dying out, and it worked quite nicely. Future improvements to the platform. Excellent question. The mechanics need a little bit of improvement. As you can see, the wheels sometimes fall off. The metal prongs change shape and impede their charging. Also, yeah, radio would be really nice to add, because debugging them is something that is really painful to do at the moment. And so if they could transmit their status between each other and back to the humans in a more wideband, longer range thing than just infrared, that would be great. We're looking at maybe the MSP 430 and ChipCon radio fusion for that's coming out soon. Yes?
Have you so far performed any comparison between simulations?
Would you like to repeat?
Have you so far performed any comparison of simulation of the swarm behavior and the actual behavior?
Yes. In the work published in the Artificial Life Conference, the task distribution algorithm, we did show a correlation between simulation and reality, which was, a relief. That worked quite nicely. We are working on a paper that will contain this data that you can read for yourselves, but it's not out yet, so details will be posted on those links. Okay. Well, if there's no more, I guess we'll wrap it up there. These are my other interests. If anyone fancies talking to me during the conference about any of these, that would be great. But otherwise, thank you and goodbye.